Good day everyone, welcome to our reporting. My name is Aravela B. Abela and we are going to talk about the interaction and interdependence objective. It describes the principle of ecosystem, categorize the different biotic potential and environmental resistance, diseases, availability of food, and predators that affects population exclusion and describe how the different terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem are interlinked with one another. Here is the study of ecology. Ecology is a major branch in biology that studies how living things interact with each other and their environment. The term ecology was first coined by the German biologist Ernst Haeckel. It was derived from the Greek word oikos meaning house or home and logos meaning study. Ecology does not only focus on the study of the relationship of individual organisms with their environment, but also on the study of the whole ecological system consisting of various levels of hierarchies. We have the population. Population is a group of the same organism living together in an area with the ability to interbreed and interact with one another. While in community is a group of different population of different organisms interacting with each other in an area. Ecosystem is composed of communities interacting with physical environment. Biosphere. Biosphere is defined as the largest scale of ecological organization where all ecosystems in the world interact. It is a sum total of all ecosystem and planet, which means biosphere is life. Biosphere is composed of different things that are living in this planet. There are some species that live in the atmosphere, or shall we call air. We have the hydrosphere, shall we call water, and lithosphere, where it is called the land or the earth. We have the components of the ecosystem. The term environment refers to all non-living and living conditions surrounding and influencing living organisms. There are two major components in the ecosystem. We have the biotic factor and abiotic factor. Biotic factor is the living organisms including decomposing organisms. Examples are the animals and the plants, while in abiotic factors are the parts of the environment that are not and never were alive. For example, are water, air, and sunlight. We have the rocks and the temperature of the earth. The study of ecology is governed by several natural basic principles. The ultimate source of energy is the sun, and the energy flows in the ecological system and the matter cycle continually through the web of life. We have the types of ecosystem. The kind of ecosystem are divided into two major parts. There are terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem, where we can see that in the terrestrial we have the forest, grassland, and desert, while in aquatic there are two kinds of aquatic. We have freshwater and marine. In freshwater there are two types. It is the lotic and lentic water. So we have the forest. The forests are ecosystem with abundant plant, animals, and fungi and microorganisms living in relatively small areas. Thus, forest has high density and diversity. There are different types of forests depending on biotic and abiotic components. Tropical evergreen forests receive an average rainfall of about 80 to 400 inches per year. This type of forest has dense vegetation comprising of tall trees at different levels. The temperature in a tropical rainforest range between 68 to 77 degrees Celsius. Next, we have the grassland. The grassland are dominated by grass with few trees and scrubs. Animals in this ecosystem usually grazing animals and their predators. Insects and insectivores. Animals that eat insects. The two most common grasslands are savanna and prairie. Next, we have the desert. Deserts are found in regions that have very minimal amount of rainfall, usually less than 25 centimeters annually. Vegetation includes bushes, shrubs, few trees, and succulent plants like cacti. Animals found in this place are those adapted to its extreme condition. Adaptation in reptiles, birds, and arachnids and camels have enabled them to thrive in desert. So, you know that in the forest, there are the types of animals that only can live in that kind of environment. There are the examples of monkeys and some other insects. While in grassland, most of the animals that lives there are the animals that can adapt in the environment like cows and other animals that eat grass. Next is we have the marine ecosystem. It's considered the Earth's largest ecosystem, covering 71% of Earth's surface. Water in this ecosystem has high amount of dissolved salt and other materials. Marine ecosystem include ocean, estuaries, salt marshes, and coral reefs, intertidal zones in deep seas and the seafloor. We have the freshwater. Freshwater includes the river, ponds, and springs and other wetlands. In contrast to the marine ecosystem, freshwater ecosystem have minimal amount of salt, and they cover about 0.8% of Earth's surface, which is about 0.009% of Earth's total water. There are three kinds of freshwater. We have the still water that we call lotic, as I mentioned earlier, such as ponds and lakes. The fast-moving water or flowing waters is what we call lantics, such as streams and rivers and the wetlands.
Nekai refers to the role of an organism or species in its ecosystem. It includes the way the species interacts with the biotic and abiotic components of the environment. The two types of Nekai: food, habitat.
Energy flow in the environment. Producers are organisms that can produce their own food. They are also referred to as autotrophs. Certain autotrophic bacteria and microorganisms utilizes chemicals in the environment to synthesize their food. They are called chemosynthetic autotrophs. Most autotrophs, however, use sunlight, thus they are referred to as photosynthetic autotrophs. Consumers are organisms that depend on other organisms for food. They are also called heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are classified according to what they eat.
Herbivores consume producers such as the algae and plants. Carnivores consume other animals. Carnivores are unable to digest plants. Lions, polar bears, and sharks are some examples of carnivores. Omnivores are organisms that can consume both plants and animals. They include human, brown bear, some birds, and other species of fish.
Decomposers are responsible for breaking down other organism remains and other waste. They release the simple inorganic molecules to the environment. These molecules can be used again by plants to make new organic molecules. There are several types of decomposers depending on the organic matter they break down. Scavengers consume soft tissues of dead organisms. Vulture and dragons are examples of scavengers. Detritivores feed on detritus composed of dead leaves, animal feces, and other organic debris in soil or at the bottom of the bodies of water. Examples of detritivores are earthworms, dung beetle, and some species of snails. Saprotrophs are decomposers that mainly feed on any remaining organic matter left by other decomposers. Fungi and certain species of bacteria and protozoa are saprotrophs.
A food chain represents a single pathway of events in which energy and matter flow in an ecosystem. A food web, it demonstrates the most organisms are eaten by more than one organism. Simply, food web is a set of overlapping food chain.
Water is essential to life. Around 3/4 of Earth's surface is covered with water. However, water is not equally distributed for all organisms to use, and not all water is potable.
The oxygen and carbon cycle. Plants release oxygen as byproduct of photosynthesis and is used by animals. Animals break down sugar molecules from the food they ate and release carbon dioxide through cellular respiration. Carbon dioxide will then be used by plants as raw materials and photosynthesis. However, carbon cycle does not stop in these two processes. Carbon is stored in the body tissues of living organisms. The stored carbon returns to the cycle via two processes: decomposition and combustion. All living things will eventually die and decompose.
The nitrogen cycle, there is roughly 78% of nitrogen in Earth's atmosphere. Nitrogen on Earth is free nitrogen, as it is not yet combined with other elements. Nitrogen is essential to the survival of living things. It is necessary for building proteins and other body chemicals. Nitrogen must first undergo certain processes to be converted into usable forms. The nitrogen cycle includes the processes of nitrogen fixation, ammonification, nitrification, and denitrification.
Nitrogen fixation may occur when lighting strikes, but most of fixations is done by nitrogen. Fixing bacteria present in the soil or in the roots of some plants.